This is Roger Struckoff with Syscon TV. We're day 2 of Cloud Expo in Santa Clara, California, in the heart of Silicon Valley. And we're joined by Greg Bruno, who's VP of Engineering at StackIQ. And he says something about solving pain. And so I've got like a pain back here, but we've got pains in our business, and I think it's that kind of pain point you'd like to talk about, correct?
That's right. We are in the pain relief business, like just like you were talking about there. So what we do is we help people build clusters. And when I say clusters, I have to be careful because the word cluster it's overloaded and people think about a lot of different ways. I'm thinking of more of the classical sense of the cluster, where you have physical machines, racked and stacked, Ethernet network. So that's the hardware architecture. And then on top of that is we help people put a full stack on top of every single one of those machines where we don't expect anything on those machines at all. So we do the full bare metal install. And what we also have seen time and time again, especially in the big enterprises, is that for the first time they are starting to build their very own clusters, where before clusters were pre-built for them by Teradata, Oracle, IBM. Right. But just like when we saw the transition between the big iron and the high-performance computing space about 15 years ago, we're now seeing a similar transition between, the incumbents of Oracle, Teradata, who are driving kind of the big data systems. We're seeing that transition from those proprietary systems to the commodity-based systems where now you have to build your own cluster. So going through this process of building a cluster, it's relatively easy when they're small, 10, 20 nodes. And that's, the general pilot project, right? So they build that. They use their existing tools to build out that cluster. They hand it over to the business units who are going to, or their customers. The thing is providing so much value to the business, it catches wildfire. And so the higher up guys who are telling the ops guys and say, hey, lots of value is being delivered, thanks, and we're going to double the cluster. So they double it. And they still try and use the same tools to build out that cluster. Again, you have to get all the bits down there, all the OS, all the middleware, all those things configured, all the networks configured, all the drives, and then incorporated into whatever cluster application you're using, say, OpenStack or Hadoop. Then as it scales out there, as they doubled it, they start to feel that, hey, cluster's a little bit different from what I'm used to, where this big farm of individual servers. So they might be able to pull it off then, they might not, but now they're starting to realize that it is a little bit different. Again, they hand that back over to the business unit, provides tons of value. Yeah. The higher ups go, man, this is awesome. Let's double it again. And it's usually at that stage where they say, what I like to say is the ops guys, they're treading water, and management's handing them bricks. Yes. And that's the pain that we relieve. We have engineered a solution from ground zero to deal with what I call that exponential pain that deals with clusters as you scale out. Yeah,
you guys are doing great. So here's another couple bags of cement blocks. Just put them on. It's not a big problem. So you answered kind of my second and third questions in sort of scope and sort of process it's going. So are companies coming to you in various states of duress at this particular point, and what sorts of companies are these? Is there a sort of a sweet spot for you, or what kind of companies are coming to you in these various states of distress?
Well, I'll talk more about like the 3 types of customers that we've identified. So the first one is the pain prevention customers. So these are the guys who the ops staff has been given the directive, go install this cluster. So one of our customers, it was about 50 machines that were going to participate in a Hadoop cluster. Okay. And so that was handed to the ops staff. They looked at it and they knew right away that we don't know what this is. This is vastly different from what we've done before. We are going to need a new tool which is designed to go build this cluster out. So on the very first one, they contacted us. So that's the pain. That's the pain prevention guys. Right. The second bucket is the guys who are in pain. So if you've seen the pain scale at the medical offices?
Yes, I've been there and done that. I get up to 8 real fast.
These are the 8, 9, and 10 guys.
Yeah, the one where the tears are coming out.
Right, and the red faces and all that.
It's hurting, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So those guys, the guys who are in pain, it's a very, very easy pitch to them, right? We show them the pitch, and they're like, yeah. Okay, and you're telling me that you're in the pain relief business? We say, yeah. And they go, okay, cool. So that's easy. And then the third bucket is what I call denial. It's I think I got it. I think I have it under control, and you do when it's small, but there is a point that you're gonna break through what I call the pain threshold, and then everything north of the pain threshold's bad.
Success is creating its own problems for these people, because you're saying they're getting buy-in from management, saying that's so cool, let's double it.
Right, and also what's also really good for us is that all of their predictions about the growth rates of their clusters are so out of whack. They're like thinking, oh, you know what, we're 100 nodes today, we might be 150 18 months from now. And that's so not true. They grow so fast because they provide so much value.
So that's the thing, it's getting away from. So cloud computing is becoming more successful than they thought. I mean, what is the key thing that's going wrong? They got to know their customers and their usage, but there's some sort of breakthrough that's happening here that's causing these problems for them, and they're facing a much higher demand than they thought they were going to.
Yeah, it's just that you
works good. I don't know.
Right. No, you try and gauge about how valuable these technologies are, these cloud technologies and these big data technologies, and you just underestimate it. It's so much more than you think. And then once you get it in production and you hand it over to your business users, it just takes off.
That's pretty cool stuff. Folks that are watching this, look for StackIQ. This is Greg Bruno, VP of Engineering. I think you could go on about this for a long time. They have, I think, a lot of customer success. I think it sounds like you may not feel like it, but you're kind of at the beginning of where this is going to be. So there's a lot more pain out there.
There is.
There's a lot more pain for you to face and to solve and to relieve. So that's good for business.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us, Greg, and thanks for watching. For Syscon TV, this is Roger Struckoff.